Heyo, everybody. OmniDogs, OmniKittens. It's OmniDog here with more October reads. That's right. And today we're going to be talking about Hill House Comics, the imprint that Joe Hill did, the writer of novels and comics. He has an imprint, DC, Hill House Comics, Black Label. The ones I have are standard size, but they also come with a Boss vellum cover. So that's reason number one to get these books. Not all of them, though. That's right. Not all of them are great. Let me show you the first four that are worth getting. Then I'm going to go negative. Some of you like it when I go negative because I'm so relentlessly positive, which is fine with me. Some of these books deserve it. Okay, the book doesn't deserve it. Let's go in order that they're just stacked up here on my table. The first book is by Joe Hill, and it's The Plunge. Sorry, I always never know where I'm going here. The Plunge, Joe Hill. Art by the fabulous Stuart Immonen. I from the first page of this book, you know you are already gripped with fear. You feel like something is going to go wrong. The art is great, first of all, by Stuart Immonen. Let's see if I can get some faces in there that you can recognize. Not recognize, but see how great of an artist he is. And the story is about, let's see. Okay, want to make sure I don't tell it with any spoilers. But it is a story about, well, I could read it from the back. That's not going to spoil anything, but it's a okay, I'm not going to do that though. It's about all of a sudden a ship that was thought lost back in 20 years ago, or however many years ago it was. All of a sudden starts pinging again. A distress signal. Now this ship was thought to be lost, but like a tsunami type wave has washed over things in this remote archipelago where it was eventually found, and everyone was on the ship was thought lost. And the mystery is, why all of a sudden did it start pinging its distress signal? So the company that is in charge of the ship, the oil company, it was a driller, hires a crew, and the crew is so charismatic and interesting. You're rooting from the beginning, from like the head guy to his the guys underneath him that work for him, including his brother, and then also like a marine specialist is sent in, a woman, and another guy also joins them that's a specialist. And so they form this crew that goes to find out the mystery. Why the ship all of a sudden has been sending out the distress signal. Okay, you already know that something bad is going to happen, so you're already worried. I can't show too much of the art because it would spoil it. Like all of the art I would show you would spoil it. I will show here. Let me cover this up and show you. In the very first chapter, they do no. I don't even want to show you this because it's going to spoil it. What can I show you that won't spoil it? Nope, that'll spoil it. No, yeah. A lot of this I've already shown you. A lot of the art. I can show you this panel. That doesn't really... Just take my word for it that the art by Stuart Immonen is great, with colors by the famous Dave Stewart, who's famous for a reason. And it's written by Joe Hill. It takes you to a place in the book. The book takes you to a place that I would have never thought it would have taken you. You already know they're going to discover something horrifying on the boat. I can't tell you what it is because that's going to spoil it, but it goes to a place of horror that I never thought it would go to. It's extremely well told. Oh, also on the boat, seeking to find out why the distress signal was that is an oil executive representing the oil company. So what pulls you in? Joe Hill does a really good job of getting the personalities out of every individual early, and the camaraderie and distrust and trust that envelops the crew on the ship that goes to discover the Derleth, which 1983, a state-of-the-art drilling ship, the Derleth, vanished near the Arctic Circle. Decades later, it has begun sending a distress call. Okay, so it's in an archipelago in the Bering Strait. I think it's in disputed territory, but it doesn't matter. But what draws you in is that Joe Hill does a great job of, as I said, of bringing out the personalities so you care about every individual. I think it's hard in such a short amount of time before the horror all begins to get you, to grab you in just a few pages and engage you with all the characters that you're shown. So you care about them as you're going forward in the book. That's only like the first eighth of the book. The rest of it deals with the discovery and how they all deal with what they find there and where what they find there takes them. It's all brilliantly illustrated. It's comes to a really great ending. It's all a one and done book. All of these are one and done books. There is something that I will, let's see, what is the other, I'll do this book next, because there is an interesting thing that that is done between two of the books. There's a metal that is important in this book, but it's even more important in this book written by Mike Carey, and it's shared between the two. Now, if there's more and there's another one, Basketful of Heads has something in common with Sea Dogs. If there's more of a thread there between all the books, I didn't pick up on it. But there's this metal called, and I'm sure I'm not saying it right. The Stalin Gale or Gale, the Stalin Gale. It's important in this book. I'm not going to tell you why. First of all, 100% recommended. Buy it. Excellent, excellent book. Definitely made my skin crawl and is a good October read. The next book I'm going to recommend, spoiler, I loved it, is Dollhouse Family by Mike Carey. Now, he goes by M.R. Carey here. I don't know why that is, but it is Mike Carey who's done, you know, lots of great things. I think he wrote Lucifer. I know he wrote The Unwritten. He's written tons of great things. So he's you know, he's a well-known comics writer. I don't, and maybe novelist, but I'm not sure why he went by M.R. Carey here. But the Dollhouse Family, the art is by Peter Gross, and let's see, I can show you some of this. Let's see if I can show you. Yeah, I can show you this. It deals with a young girl who's abused at home and finds solace in her dollhouse, which is actually full of tiny little living beings, and the girl can shrink herself down and join the families or the occupants in the dollhouse. That's really all I want to say about the dollhouse, although there's a mysterious room in the dollhouse that I will say is malevolent. There's not a crossover. There's a back and forth between something that happened in the past, the discovery of. It starts out with the discovery of a cave early on. I'm not going to tell you what was in the cave or what happened in the cave. I can show you that. No, I'm only going to show you that the guy goes, the exploring party, one of the guys goes into the cave and discovers something that ends up being the reason for the book. I'm trying not to spoil it. The girl grows up with the dollhouse, and she grows up with it. Boy, I'm trying not to spoil this because I loved this book. Of course, you get to know the woman, the girl who turns into a woman, really well. It's got a lot of moving parts because it does go back to the past a lot, that sets the roots up for what happens to the girl in the present, the woman in the present. She meets a guy, has a daughter. I can show you this. It's okay. The dollhouse is a place of escape for her, but it's also a malevolence lives in it. And it's more than it's more than demons. It's more than the occult. It's something more sinister. And in this book, the Stalin Gale, the metal, plays a much bigger part in the story. It contains, in Plunge, it contained special properties, and in this book, it also contains special properties, which makes me think that, and I'm now finally putting it together in my head, that they are tied together a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. But you can still read them singly, standalone. If you read them together, you'll put it together yourself. But there's so much interesting stuff that happens in this book. How the woman overcomes adversity. The odds are constantly against her, even as she grows up. Even with her incredibly bad childhood, she grows up determined to have a normal, good life. Things conspire against her in a horrific way. And this book, also has a really cool vellum cover. They all have really cool vellum covers. This book, if you are patient enough to be able to follow the time skips where it's present day and it goes back to establishing what happened in the past, I found this extremely rewarding and really dug it. So it may or may not be 100% connected to Plunge, but the metal, the Stalin Gale in it that they both share makes me think that there's more of a connection than I initially thought. But they both can be read alone, and they are both excellent. Highly recommend this book by Mike Carey with art by Peter Gross, Dollhouse Family. The next book from Hill House I can recommend is The Low, Low Woods. Why can't I get this right? The Low, Low Woods. And this is written by Carmen Maria Machado. Wait, is it art by Danny? Just Danny? Danny's just the artist. Okay. Carmen Maria Machado. It deals with... I don't know that I would live in a town called Shudder to Think in Pennsylvania. It was a mining... It was a mining town for many years, and then the coal mines went empty. The towns found, it was on hard times. These two girls here are besties throughout the whole book. They have their ups and downs. It's a story of their relationship and how solid their friendship is, but it's got a horrifying, horrific backstory. The town has an awful secret to it that is revolting and disgusting. And here's some more of the art. It's filled with, the town is filled with odd. Let me think. Let me read the back so I know that it's okay. Okay, yeah. It does say on the back that it's got horrifying creatures. I won't say what they are, but horrifying creatures come out of the woods. That's not the horrifying secret. But there's a witch involved who can help the girls discover what the horrifying secret is. And there are... the nature of their relationship is what keeps the book moving. Because once you figure out what the horrifying secret is, it is hard to... It's an excellent book at making you horrified and disgusted at the secret this town has. The two girls stick with each other through thick and thin, discovering the secrets of what's being done to them and other people in the town. I'm trying not to spoil it as usual. See, I can show this art. And they come upon, they do have people who'll help. There are a lot of people who will not help, but there are some people who will help. And they get that help, and it helps them be strong. And I don't want to say any more, because this book did the most for me to make me horrified, and because of the secret. And I highly recommend it. The Low, Low Woods. There's no Stalin Gale in this that I saw. The Low, Low Woods is an excellent book that I totally dug. 100%. I can recommend this book. Then we come upon another book that Joe Hill wrote, and this was, I think, my favorite of the whole bunch, A Basketful of Heads. This is about a young girl and a young deputy sheriff for the summer on a summer island off like a Martha's Vineyard type place off of the New England coast, where people go for the summer and then leave when summer's over with. And the art is by Leo Max. Okay, wait, let me make sure I don't show anything here. Okay. So there's a mystery to be solved in this. While this is more of a thriller. It's got a big mystery to solve, and a lot of it happens in the dark because a big wave comes and knocks out all the power and knocks out, maybe it's the same wave that affected, no, that was on the other side of the world. Well, it could have been a worldwide wave. Now I'm trying to hook it up with Plunge. Here's some more of the art. So the art is very good. The young woman is trying to discover who's after her boyfriend and why they're willing to also go after her. But she finds, in this house she was in, she finds an axe, and it's not, well, it's called Basketful of Heads, so I'm not spoiling anything. The axe has the power to chop off people's heads, and the people are still living. The heads still talk to her. So that's why it's called Basketful of Heads. And that axe is seen in Sea Dogs. It has a cameo in Sea Dogs. It's the sheriff in the town collects Viking collectibles and old style, long ago collectibles, vintage, not vintage, but very old weapons. And that's all the girl has to defend herself as she unwinds this mystery. It's actually really funny. It's a funny thriller because she ends up with a basketful of heads that talk to her, and she has to figure out what's true and what's not true. That's really all about all I can say. It's called Brody Island. Let's see. I don't want to... Okay, here, this doesn't ruin anything that I haven't already ruined. This is by far my favorite because it made me laugh. It was suspenseful. It took twists and turns that I didn't expect. Has a great ending. Of course, it does a wonderful job of keeping you invested in what happens to the girl. June Branch is her name. She's just like a local kid with, bigger dreams of leaving the island. But the book does a great job of keeping you invested in what happens to her as she finds strength within herself. You know how it goes. She finds strength within herself, and as the back says, heads will roll. And it helps. Well, let's see. Again, in this book, as with the Low Woods, humanity is the big evil in these two books. But there's also that sword that has sorry, when I say sword, I mean axe, that Viking axe that has mystical abilities. So you've got a comedy thriller with a mystical axe and as a mystery that she's trying to solve. And this book was my favorite, although I loved all four of those books. And here's the vellum cover for it. I can recommend all four of these unreservedly. These four were great and can be blind bought and enjoyed. So we got Basketful of Heads, Plunge, Low Woods, and Dollhouse Family. Now for the bad news. There is going to be a box set that comes out that contains those four books and a book called Daphne Byrne and Sea Dogs. Sea Dogs was collected in the floppies, 30 of the floppies, which was like a lot of, I don't know if it's all of them, but it's a lot of them. 30 of the floppies. So it'll be collected. There were 2 pages in every floppy, and I read them that way on the DC Universe app. It didn't ruin my experience. It was easy in the DC Universe app to page Sea Dogs together, and that's where the mystical mystical axe appears. But let's talk about Daphne Byrne. Or rather, let's not talk about Daphne Byrne. Laura Marks, I'm sorry, I did not enjoy this book. It's got art by Kelly Jones. Kelly Jones, not my favorite artist. But even if it was drawn by Jim Lee, it wouldn't have helped the story. The story is terrible. It's not good. I didn't dig it. It deals with a young girl and her mother. They've lost her father, and the mother's trying to reach him through a series of seances, and the young girl thinks that the seances are fake and sets out to prove it. There is an otherworldly aspect that comes into play, where the young girl finds a companion from the underworld, let's say. And he presents himself to the girl throughout the stories. There's 6 of them, 5 or 6 of them. I don't know. I read them all. There's the seance aspect. There's the debunking of the seance aspect. There's the fact that she can trust basically no one. There's the demonic friend she encounters. Is he out to help her? Is he out to hurt her? I didn't care about any of it. It was so poorly written and so uninteresting. Oh, it was tough to get through. So I don't buy that box set unless you want to sell this book. It's Daphne Byrne is just not good. I just did not dig it at all. And so I would highly recommend that you not spend your money on it. I don't even think you should read it digitally. I think you should avoid it entirely. Which leads us to Sea Dogs, which is about the Revolutionary War and werewolves. And I can synopsize, I can sum it up by saying the Americans send werewolves undercover to a powerful British ship to infiltrate and destroy this ship. It does have, well, okay, I can show you this. Who's this by? Oh, this is by Joe Hill. That's right. Art by Dan McDade. It's okay. I think you can. It's interesting to see the historical aspect. I think it sounds like Joe Hill did a lot of research to get it right. There's a lot of stuff about what life is like at sea on a warship. There's werewolves and an interesting twist at the end, but I didn't really dig this that much either. If Daphne Byrne is 1 star, then Sea Dogs is 2 stars. While the others are 4.5s to 5s. I just was not a big fan of Sea Dogs. If you want to read it digitally, okay, that'd be worth it. Reading it digitally, I guess. Not, but I don't think I'd spend money on it. Which boggles my mind because Joe Hill wrote Plunge and Basketful of Heads, and those were great. And this was just mediocre. So I would either avoid it or just read it digitally. Peace and love to Joe Hill and the other person that wrote the other book, and read the other 4 books. They're really, really good. That's what I would spend my money on for October. I would avoid the other 2 books pretty much altogether. Yeah, that's my opinion. My opinion only. So, thank you for watching. Peace and love. Peace and love. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment. And I appreciate you all. You all are great. Fantastic viewers, fans, subscribers. You're all great. Thank you for following me. Peace and love.